I told you that your meticulously crafted 5-year plan isn't actually a reliable blueprint for success?
Oh, I'd probably be a little defensive, honestly.
Right. But what if it's just a psychological safety blanket,
hmm
designed to hide you from an unpredictable universe?
That is a terrifying but very real thought.
It really is. So, welcome to today's deep dive. We are incredibly glad you're here with us. Today, our mission is to unpack a really fascinating, delightfully quirky stack of notes we've received.
Yeah, and the title alone is just, it's a complete provocation.
It's titled, Are You Popular or Are You Just a Rumor? Making Plans Ahead of Time.
Which is such a wild thing to name an essay. It's a really dense piece of writing to sift through, too. Like, the author takes us on this journey that starts by just aggressively questioning the illusion of control we all cling to.
Yeah, that desperate need for certainty.
Exactly. And then they pitch this almost bizarrely practical mathematical strategy for, well, for literally manufacturing luck.
Which sounds completely impossible.
Oh, it does. And before you even process that, they take a hard left turn into an update from the Oxford English Dictionary. It challenges how we navigate reality on a personal level, and then how we define that reality on a cultural level.
Okay, let's unpack this, starting with that brutal opening dilemma about our obsession with certainty.
Yeah, let's dive into that.
So, the author points out something we all universally accept, right? Making plans ahead of time always seems like a good idea.
Oh, society praises the planner.
Yeah,
We love people with, color-coded calendars and spreadsheets.
totally. But then the text drops this massive anvil on the whole concept. It says planning works perfectly, quote, until destiny decides to take a step in front.
The visual there is just so striking. Imagine you're walking down this beautifully paved, brightly lit path you built for yourself.
Yeah, you laid every brick.
Right, and destiny, this personified, almost malicious force, just physically steps in front of you and blocks the way.
It's such an agonizing question. Like, given the sheer chaos of the world, how could a plan ever come to work 100%?
And the short answer seems to be that, well, it can't.
No, it really can't. A 100% foolproof plan is essentially a myth we tell ourselves to lower our blood pressure.
Yeah, we desperately crave certainty.
But destiny or randomness or whatever label you want to slap on the chaos of reality, it always gets the final vote.
Always.
So if the perfect plan is a myth, it forces us to ask a really uncomfortable question. When highly successful people actually do pull off a massive win, how much of it was their brilliant blueprint and how much was, something else?
Which brings us right into the source's exploration of luck. And what's fascinating here is how the text completely redefines that word.
Yeah, it really flips it on its head.
It does. We typically think of luck as this random roll of the dice, the complete absence of skill.
Like winning the lottery.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the source claims, and I'll quote it directly, luck is something that people with skill like to use when asked how they did something.
Wow.
Right. The author is arguing that luck isn't a mystical force. It's a modest term. It's essentially a social shield.
A social shield used by highly competent people. Think about the psychology of that for a second.
It's kind of brilliant.
It is. When someone achieves something monumental in a world we've already established is ruled by a destiny that loves to ruin plans, they know they can't just stand on a podium and claim they had a 100% perfect strategy.
Because that sounds arrogant and, frankly, a little delusional.
Exactly. They know full well that destiny could have easily stepped in front of them that very morning.
Yeah, the car could have broken down, the alarm could have failed.
Anything. So, to explain away their success and to avoid sounding like they think they're gods who beat the universe, they just shrug and say, oh, I got lucky.
They are deliberately masking their raw, calculating competence behind the polite fiction of luck.
It's a really fascinating look at the friction between high achievers and the rest of society. We basically demand that they share humility in the face of chaos.
We do. We don't like people who claim to have beaten the system.
No, not at all. To ground this, I want you, the listener, to think about trying to build an architectural masterpiece of a sandcastle on the beach.
Okay, I love this analogy.
So you've got the blueprints, you're measuring the angles of the turrets, you're smoothing the retaining walls with a little trowel.
Taking it very seriously.
Oh, your skill level is off the charts, but you are actively ignoring the fact that the tide is eventually going to come in.
Right. The ocean doesn't care about your masonry skills.
Oh, it doesn't.
The ocean is destiny taking a step in front of your castle.
Exactly. And when the water inevitably surges up the beach, but happens to stop 1 single inch from your outer wall.
Just right there at the moat.
Yeah, you don't turn to the crowd and praise your flawless structural engineering. You just wipe the sweat off your forehead and thank your lucky stars.
Because the sheer skill was in the construction, sure. But you credit luck for the survival because you know you couldn't control the water.
Right.
Well, the source takes this redefinition of luck and makes a really wild, provocative leap.
Yeah, this is where it gets kind of weird.
It does. If we accept that skilled people disguise their abilities as luck, and that this luck is essentially just applied skill successfully navigating a chaotic destiny,
Oh, okay, staying with you.
then the authors suggest something radical. They suggest that maybe luck can actually be planned ahead.
Which, I have to say, instantly sounds like an oxymoron to me. How do you plan for randomness?
It sounds impossible.
If destiny is the tide coming in to smash the sandcastle, how exactly do we build a stronger beach?
Well, the text provides a surprisingly mundane answer. It introduces what we could call the rule of twos.
A rule of two.
Yeah, it's a very specific, quirky methodology for manufacturing luck. The text advises getting everything in twos.
Like literally everything.
Pretty much. The examples it gives are buying 2 shirts when you go shopping or taking 2 extra classes in college just to get ahead.
Wow.
It yanks this high-minded philosophical debate about destiny straight down into the aisles of a department store.
Let's really put ourselves in the shoes of someone doing this. Think about the last time you bought a backup hard drive just in case, or packed an entire second outfit for a day trip.
It's in case it rains, yeah.
The text claims this is how you plan for luck. But I want you, listening right now, to really scrutinize this logic.
Okay, lay it on us.
Is buying 2 of everything actually a strategy for luck? Or is it just creating a frantic safety net out of pure, unadulterated anxiety?
Oh, I definitely hear that pushback. It really feels like an anxious way to live.
Constantly waiting for the other shoe to drop?
Right. But the author's underlying logic is that the universe doesn't actually care about your internal emotional state.
Oh, that's true.
The universe doesn't care if you're terrified or if you're a Zen master. Whether your actions are driven by severe anxiety or, strategic genius, having 2 shirts means you have a clean one ready to go when destiny forces you to spill coffee on the first one.
I hate when destiny makes me spill my coffee.
Exactly. And to the outside observer who doesn't see the anxiety, you just look incredibly lucky. The emotional driver doesn't matter to the author. The mathematical outcome is all that counts.
So you're widening the net. You're anticipating the failure of the primary plan. So the secondary plan is already loaded and ready to fire.
Precisely.
But carrying double the load, especially taking 2 extra college classes, think about the tuition and the stress there. That is an exhausting 200% plan.
Oh, it's a massive burden.
It is. It's designed to compensate for the fact that the 100% plan is a myth. It borders on superstitious behavior. You're sacrificing your time and money to appease the god of destiny.
It is a modern ritual to ward off bad fortune, without a doubt. And the text itself subtly acknowledges the sheer fragility of this mathematical strategy.
Yeah, it kind of tells on itself a bit.
Because it follows up at the rule of twos with a genuinely absurd piece of advice.
Oh man, this part.
The author writes, and again I quote, "If for some reason luck runs out, it would be very lucky to pick a different number."
I have to admit, I laughed out loud at the deadpan delivery of that line.
It's so funny.
Your rule of twos failed. Well, try the rule of threes. Just pick another number out of thin air. It completely exposes the absurdity of trying to fully hack the universe.
Yeah, the author is essentially admitting, look, here's a mathematical strategy to control your unpredictable destiny. But if the math fails, well, just make up new math.
Just buy 4 shirts.
Right. It highlights the profound desperation we have to ensure, as the text explicitly states a bit later, that, quote, something is being done correctly.
We really crave correctness.
We do. We crave dominion over our personal reality, even if we have to invent arbitrary numerical rules to feel it.
So we have this intense, almost frantic desire to control our personal destinies, whether we're meticulously trying to stick to a career blueprint, hoarding backup shirts, or taking extra classes.
Yeah, that covers the individual level.
But how does that scale up? Like, if that's how you and I act individually, how do we handle the chaos of destiny collectively as a society?
Well, the text bridges that gap by shifting its focus from our physical, individual actions to our shared cultural reality.
Okay.
And the mechanism it identifies for controlling that shared reality is language.
Language.
Yeah, language is how we define the parameters of the world around us.
And the author sets up a really interesting contrast to illustrate this shift. They compare the act of checking items off an annual bucket list to the act of creating a new word.
Right. They point out that doing things on a bucket list is common. It happens every year.
Yeah, think about the nature of a bucket list. You're striving to experience things like skydiving, or seeing the Eiffel Tower, or running a marathon.
You're checking boxes.
Exactly. You are participating in the existing world. You are playing in a sandbox that someone else already built.
But the text argues that creating a completely new word happens, quote, not very often.
It's much rarer.
It is. Creating a word isn't just interacting with the world as it is. It's an attempt to capture, define, and ultimately control a new, shifting reality.
Which brings up a fascinating psychological question for everyone listening. When humanity invents new words for a rapidly changing world, are we just gaining a false sense of control over an unpredictable destiny?
Oh, that's a deep question.
I mean, is updating the dictionary basically the societal equivalent of taking those 2 extra college classes? Are we just hoarding vocabulary to feel safe from the chaos?
I think so. The mechanism at play here is cognitive framing.
Okay, unpack that a bit.
So, when the world changes rapidly, when destiny takes a massive step in front of society as a whole, it creates widespread collective anxiety.
Like we're all losing our grip.
Right, our old labels, our old blueprints, they no longer fit the phenomena we're experiencing every day. So by assigning a brand new word to a chaotic, terrifying new reality, we put a boundary around it. We reduce the cognitive load.
We tame it by naming it.
Precisely that. You can point at the chaos and say, there it is, I have a word for it, therefore I understand it.
And the text uses this exact distinction between bucket lists and language creation to introduce some very recent, very specific additions to the Oxford English Dictionary.
And the words the author highlights are incredibly telling about the current cultural mood.
They really are. They aren't just random dictionary additions. They are survival tools for the modern era.
Yeah, they give us a lens into how we cope.
Exactly. So the first one the source focuses on is futurescape.
Futurescape. And the text makes a crucial observation about the evolution of this concept. It notes, quote, futurescape may sound like 2 words connected, but not anymore. Welcome to the future.
Welcome to the future. I mean, it sounds like the tagline for a dystopian movie.
It really carries a lot of weight. Let's unpack the linguistics of it for a second.
Let's do it.
We used to have the future, which was this distant, abstract, temporal concept. You know, a time that hadn't happened yet.
Way out there on the horizon.
Right. And we had landscape or cityscape, which is the solid physical ground we currently stand on. By fusing them permanently into one unhyphenated word, the dictionary is acknowledging a massive psychological shift. The future isn't a time anymore.
It's a place.
It's a place. It's a tangible, unavoidable environment that we are actively walking through right now.
Wow.
It is no longer 2 loosely connected ideas. It is a single, solidified reality that has actually arrived.
It's the sandcastle and the tide becoming one permanent thing.
That's exactly it.
You can no longer separate your daily life from the rapid, relentless onset of the future. The grace period is over.
No more waiting around for it.
And if we are currently living inside this unpredictable futurescape, how exactly are we supposed to navigate it? Which brings us to what I consider the absolute wildest part of the source text.
Oh, the second dictionary edition.
Yes, the second dictionary edition they highlight.
Tilt-a-twirl.
Tilt-a-twirl. According to the text, this is the new English term added to the dictionary to mean ride bumper cars.
It is a wonderfully evocative term.
It really is.
I mean, it sounds chaotic, dizzying, and slightly out of control, which perfectly describes the feeling of the futurescape.
The sheer poetry of this, which I have to believe the author intended, even if they buried it in a dictionary update, is just brilliant.
It brings the whole thing full circle.
It really does. Think about the entire narrative arc of these notes. We started in the very first paragraph discussing the deep frustration of making a 100% flan, only to have destiny violently step in front of you and ruin it.
Right, the realization that the straight, smooth path is a total illusion.
And now, at the climax of the text, the author tells us that the essential new term we must use to describe navigating our modern world translates to riding bumper cars.
Which is just so perfect.
What is a bumper car ride if not the ultimate metaphor for the illusion of control? Let's really visualize this for a second.
Okay, put it in the car.
You get in your little brightly colored car, you grip a rubber steering wheel, you press your foot on a gas pedal. You feel entirely in charge of your own destiny.
You've got the power.
Exactly. You form a perfect plan. I'm going to drive in a straight line over to that corner.
But your plan completely ignores the environment.
Totally ignores it.
You are trapped in a closed, claustrophobic arena with a dozen other people who are also trying to execute their own 100% plans.
All aiming for different corners.
Right. And you are all powered by an electric grid sparking on the ceiling that none of you actually control.
Yes. You make your flawless plan, you hit the gas pedal to execute it, and bam.
Out of nowhere.
Destiny, in the form of a hyperactive 7-year-old in a green car, slams into your passenger side and sends you violently spinning.
Tutorial.
Exactly. You can have all the driving skill in the world. You can try to mask that skill as quote-unquote luck, but ultimately you are at the absolute mercy of the chaotic forces bouncing around you.
We are all just riding bumper cars in the futurescape.
It's terrifying, but true.
The metaphor perfectly ties the linguistic update back to the existential crisis of the opening paragraph.
It wraps it up with a bow.
It does. The vocabulary we are frantically inventing and adding to the dictionary reflects the terrifying reality of our lack of control. Naming the chaos tilt-a-twirl makes it sound like an amusement park ride rather than an existential threat.
It's a coping mechanism.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But, and this is important, the source doesn't just leave us with this amusing metaphor. It ends on a shockingly stern note.
It really does. It's basically a warning label for surviving modern life.
Yeah, the final sentence of the text reads, "Don't get caught saying the old terms and becoming outdated."
The tone pivots so sharply right there. It goes from the playful imagery of a tilt-a-twirl to this intense social pressure.
Don't get caught.
Yeah, don't get caught. It implies that someone is always watching, always judging your relevance.
It drags us all the way back to the provocative question posed in the very title of the piece. Are you popular or are you just a rumor?
Which hits so differently now.
It does. Think about the sociological weight of those two words. Being popular in this context doesn't mean being like the prom king or queen.
Right, it's not high school popularity.
No, it means being accepted as part of the current verified reality.
Yeah.
You exist, you matter.
But a rumor.
Exactly. A rumor lacks substance. It's an echo. It's easily dismissed and quickly forgotten.
So if you don't keep up with the rapidly shifting language of the futurescape, if you get caught relying on the old terms and the old definitions, you lose your solidity in society.
Like you fade away.
You fade from a popular reality into a ghost of the past.
The author is basically suggesting that survival in this chaotic bumper car ride requires relentless, exhausting adaptation.
You can't just rest.
No, you cannot rely on the old words to describe new chaos. Just like you can't rely on the old blueprints when the ground is moving, or that single shirt when the coffee spills.
You literally have to keep checking the dictionary updates just to prove to everyone else that you still exist in the present tense.
It's wild. So if we connect this to the bigger picture, this brief stack of notes takes us on a massive psychological journey.
It really does.
We start with the humbling, bruising realization that our meticulous 100% plans are always vulnerable to the whims of destiny.
The tide coming in.
Right. We then try to outsmart that destiny on a personal level, masking our anxieties as manufactured luck by hoarding duplicate shirts and drowning in extra college credits.
Desperately hoping the math of the rule of twos will save us.
Exactly. And when individual hoarding fails to cure the anxiety, well, we look to society for a bigger shield.
We seek comfort in the collective naming of things.
We do. We update our shared vocabulary, welcoming the futurescape as a physical place, and accepting the chaotic tilt-a-twirl nature of reality.
And we do all of this driven by a profound underlying fear of becoming obsolete, right? Of being left behind and turning into a rumor.
It is a relentless cycle of planning, failing, adapting, and naming.
Man, it's exhausting just to map it all out.
It is.
But it is deeply, fundamentally human. We know the tide is coming, but we just keep trying to build a better sandcastle anyway.
We really do.
Which leaves us with a lingering thought, something I really want you to chew on after you finish listening today.
All right, give it to us.
So, we've talked about the illusion of the 100% plan, and we've talked about the desperate societal scramble to stay relevant by adopting whimsical new terms like tilt-a-twirl.
Right.
But think about the sheer amount of cognitive energy that takes. If we are constantly forced to update our language, our strategies, our wardrobes, and our very perception of reality just to prove we belong in the present,
Oh, I see where you're going with this.
is our obsession with staying current and not becoming a rumor just another impossible 100% foolproof plan?
Wow.
And if it is only a matter of time before destiny steps in front of that plan, too.
That is heavy.
Something to think about the next time you find yourself spinning in the bumper cars. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.